Good morning, everybody. I'm Mel Doerr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, coming to you from outskirts of Chicago. Today is April 9th, 2024, and I was so excited that Gary and I went down to Carbondale to see the total eclipse. I'm going to tell you all about it. But morning moments with Mel. Grab yourself a cup of joe and let's go. Let's get busy. Uh, Gary and I went to Springfield first, and when we were in Springfield, we saw the Lincoln Presidential Museum. And if you're ever in Springfield, Illinois, it is absolutely a must see. It is incredible. And they have a show, it's called Ghost of the Museum. It's really cool. And they use this effect called Pepper's Ghost. You won't know that you're seeing the special effect of Pepper's Ghost, but it's really incredible. And then from there, we went to Lincoln's home. We didn't get the tour because it was sold out, but there's a whole street there that they preserve the houses as they were when Lincoln lived on that street, and his home is incredible. And on that same street, there is the office of Illinois Senator Dick Durbin. So it was on a Sunday, so nobody was there, but we got to peek in. It was really cool. And then from there, we went to see Lincoln's tomb. It is incredible. You can actually go in. I guess years ago, somebody tried to steal Lincoln's body. For what purpose, I have no idea. So when you see the actual sarcophagus, he is buried 10 feet below that and a little bit behind it and encased in concrete. The reason they did that is because I said somebody tried to steal his body. For what purpose, I don't know. But a lot of you are worried about our democracy. A lot of you are worried about justice. A lot of you are worried about what's going to happen. And as I was standing at Lincoln's tomb, I cried. It was very emotional. And I felt his spirit so strongly. And I texted this to Linda Grindle, and I'm going to read what I text you because his spirit came to me so strongly. And it said, "We have been showing you that our union will survive. Our democracy shall live on, and justice shall and will be done." I asked him telepathically if it's been him that's giving me the message that justice shall be done. And the answer came back loud and clear: trust in spirit. So I trust what he gave me. I trust the message. So we all have to be vocal, Spirit says, so that our democracy will survive. Everybody get out and vote. Speak up against injustice, intolerance. Lincoln, I found out, had a lot of criticism from both sides or from all political parties. But yet he didn't stop. He endured. He kept going. And look at what he was able to achieve. I mean, he was president during a bloody civil war. It was horrible. And people here, some people I've heard them talk about they want a civil war. Trust me, you do not want that. It won't be pretty. Lincoln was president during the Civil War, and it was really him that saved our democracy. And here again, he assures me that our democracy shall live on. Justice shall and will be done, and that our union will survive. So everybody breathe a little. Use the power to vote. Speak up. And I see a time when this country will come back to its senses and prosecute those people who think they're above the law. Any politician, anybody that thinks they're above the law will get prosecuted. I see a time coming in the not so distant future when our justice system will be impartial And it won't be based on this tribal partisan politics that's going on. That was hard to say. I see a point in time where the Supreme Court will be fair and they won't be able to be touched by corrupt politicians. I see a point in time where there's going to be term limits placed on Supreme Court justices. And I see a point in time where there's going to be legislation passed that these justices can no longer take contributions from big business or from millionaires because the big business or the millionaires want to get a certain law put into effect. I see an end to that. I see a lot, my guides are showing me a lot of rules that are going to be imposed on the Supreme Court that they must follow. Otherwise, they can be removed from the court. Again, I see Roe v. Wade at some point reinstated. I see women's rights reinstated, if you will. And I see a point in time in the not so distant future where there will be equality for LGBTQ, for women in particular. They'll make the same salaries as men for doing the same jobs. And it's the women who will swing this election and the minorities. And it will be the women who bring Donald Trump down. But anyway, Lincoln, his spirit was very upset. And he said, what is going on in the Republican Party now is clearly not Republican. His spirit, as I said, was very upset, but yet very forceful. It was an incredible experience. So everybody, if you get down to Springfield, go see Lincoln's tomb. It's really an amazing experience. So then from there, Gary and I spent the night in Springfield at the Abraham Lincoln Hotel. And then we traveled to Carbondale, it's about 3 miles south. Oh, I'm sorry, not 3 miles, 3 hours south of Springfield. It's about 6-hour drive to Carbondale from Chicago. It's down near Paducah, Kentucky. The weather was absolutely incredible. I'm sorry, you all. I'm at my office and Gary is filling in today, so he didn't have a key. So he texted me to open the door because I couldn't hear the doorbell, and he brought the dog. So she stayed with our friends and she's really happy to see me. So, and Gary. Anyway, so Carbondale is about a 6-hour drive from Chicago. So we went to Southern Illinois University and we got there like about an hour before totality. We had tickets to be in the stadium and they give you these smoked glasses. And it was really neat to look up at this and you have to wear the glasses. I tried to get some pictures with my iPhone, but it's hard because the even with putting the filter in front of the lens on the iPhone, still kind of tricky to get a good picture of the sun. But I got a few. Anyway, so as totality approached, what totality is when the moon completely blocks out the sun and you can see the corona. As the totality approached, it became almost like dusk. It's an orangish grayish kind of look. Shadows become longer. I think, it was just so exciting and everybody was getting along. It didn't matter about people's politics, about their sexual orientation. It didn't matter any of that. It was about just people there, and the atmosphere was electric. It was really an incredible experience. It's one of the most incredible experiences I've had in my life. Gary and I went to St. Joseph, Missouri back in 2017 to see the eclipse, but it rained. So we didn't get to see the actual sun eclipse, but it did get dark, so we experienced it. waited 7 years, and we heard it was going to be cloudy a little bit in Carbondale. And I said to my guides, please just let us be able to see this eclipse. And my guides assured me we would. Linda Grindle assured me as well. And so it was, as I said, incredible. So you look up with your smoked glasses and you can just see in phases. So, you know, like here's the sun, the shadow of the moon starts coming this way. And so you can see a little bit of the sun blacked out, and then it just keeps going until it reaches totality. Some amazing things I noted that happened during the eclipse. And I didn't notice this one part, but I've heard that radio signals get messed up. And some scientists think that that's because it's reduction in the sun's radiation. It is the absolute best sunset I have ever seen. 2 sunsets and 2 sunrises in one day. Wow. Animals and insects get a little bit confused too. The birds stopped chirping. It was a beautiful day in Carbondale. It was around 74, and there was a wind blowing to keep us cool, but the insects stopped chirping. We can actually see the planet Venus and Jupiter. So the stars come out. But at totality, which lasted about 4 minutes and 9 seconds, the sky is, you can still see the sky as blue. And if you look on the horizon, you can see it as orange, like it does right before the sun sets. However, anywhere you look on the horizon, you're getting a 360 sunset. It's incredible. So the darkness during an eclipse is kind of weird. It's almost like a translucent kind of darkness. You look in the background, no matter which way you look, and you can see sun, because over there the sun is shining. We were just in the path of that shadow. It does get dark, but as I said, it's this translucent kind of dark. So stars and planets are visible. There's something called shadow bands, and that's really cool. And I saw them, and it has to be on a plain surface, painted surface. And they appear at the last moments before totality. They're thin, wavy ripples of light and dark, almost like the shadows at the bottom of a swimming pool. And they don't last long. It's really quick. One of the most incredible things, it was windy in Carbondale, and the wind slowed down very slow and changed directions. And there's a scientific explanation for that, which I quite haven't studied, but you know, Gary and I are science geeks, so we loved it. Obviously, the temperature drops. I think it dropped about 8 or 9 degrees. There's something you can experience. We saw it on the screen on the monitor called Bailey's beads. And it's an arc of bright spots like twinkling diamonds. And it appears around the edge of the moon, right, you know, as the sun is eclipsing. And that's formed as the light from the sun pierces through the gaps between mountains and valleys on the moon's surface. It looks like a string of beads, like lining the moon's edge. It's really cool. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my notes here, you all. It's an emotional experience. I actually cried. I got tears in my eyes, and other people did too. It's just like I have never seen so many cameras pointed toward the sky, and at totality, so many people saying, wow, oh my God. People were clapping, they were stomping. It was just amazing. There's another eclipse that's going to total eclipse that's going to be in Iceland, I think, in a couple of years. And I'm already talking to Gary about going to see that one. I think we're officially now called eclipse chasers, but I like to say eclipse experiences, you know? So I did get some pictures, and this was a picture of totality. And that ring is the corona. That's the corona of the sun. Now, before totality, you have to wear the smoke glasses because you can do some serious damage to your eyes if you're not careful. But during totality, you don't need the glasses. And it's just so incredible to see that corona of the sun. Here it is when the sun was before totality, and you can see the moon, and the sun looks very crescent in this picture. I took this one with my iPhone and I put the goggles right here so that, because otherwise, if you try to take a picture, you won't get anything. It's really kind of hard to do. This picture, you can see the crescent sun, and that halo around it, I think, is part of the corona, but also the way that the light plays on the camera. If you can see that. And I'll just share a few more pictures with you. Now, when you take a picture of the sun with your camera during totality, it looks like the sun is shining, but it really isn't. And I'll show you what I mean. This is a picture taken during totality. You can barely see that dark spot there in the middle. Okay, that dark spot in the middle, oops, I don't know if you can see it. That is the sun being blocked out. That big ring around it is the sun's corona. You don't get to quite see it that clear with the naked eye. There you go. You can see it there. So now you see what it looks like. And that was taken with my iPhone. So I thought I'd share a few of those with you. That was right before totality. So the sun's blocked completely out. You see the corona. And then what happens is after about 4 minutes of this weird sort of darkness, all of a sudden the sun starts to peek out again. Just this little piece. At that juncture, you have to put your glasses back on. And then, the dark slowly but it becomes light pretty quickly. And then when I look through my glasses, after totality, you can actually, once, there was 3/4 of the sun back, when I looked through the goggles, you could actually see sun flares on the sun. It was incredible. So I just wanted to share the eclipse experience with you. There was no tragedy that occurred. What happened is that people just were all together for this wonderful event of nature. So I think rather than us becoming divisive, let's use this eclipse energy to pull us together. Speak up against injustice. Speak up against criminal, corrupt politicians. Go out and vote. Don't necessarily listen to what the media says about poll numbers. Those change. We've got the month of April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 months to the election. A lot can change. One little infomercial is we have our event coming to Chicago, an urban retreat going to be held at Pippin's. We do have openings. It's going to be Linda Grindle, myself, Kevin Lewis, Kevin Chandler, Kim Copeland, Deanne, PD. So it's going to be 2.5 days of just urban retreat and learning and classes about intuition and mediumship and all those things. So if you're interested in that, you can go on my website, www.meldoerr.com, or you can call my office at 847-590-5411. All right. Another episode of Morning Moments with Mel. I'll be back tomorrow morning or the day after to give some of my predictions on current events, but I just wanted to share the Lincoln experience and the eclipse experience. And by the way, I did feel the spirit of Mary Todd Lincoln. She was very nurturing and very reassuring that our country will endure. There's hard times ahead. like Lincoln and Lincoln said, there's hard times ahead, but democracy will win. Aloha, namaste, be well, and thank you for allowing me to share these experiences with you. I trust you'll have a wonderful day.